When you get pregnant on vacation and marry your Nicaraguan kayak guide. Day in the life of a sad single mom. Womp womp.
Can I get a womp womp womp?
This is why, for thousands of years, fathers would either vet their daughters' suitors or outright choose them. This is why, for thousands of years, women were not allowed to go out unsupervised or to meet up with a man without a chaperone.
I can see what he's doing. I can see it. I feel it. He's cooking.
What feminists call thousands of years of patriarchal subjugation of women was actually thousands of years of common sense wisdom based on how women actually are. It's been known for thousands of years that women are inherently childish, irresponsible, irrational, overly emotional, and self-absorbed to the point of narcissism, just like children.
He's out of line, but he's right.
This is a perfectly obvious fact of life which explains the fall of Western civilization ever since feminism and women's liberation made up this idea that the patriarchy had been oppressing women and threw off all constraints on women, all limitations, all restrictions. So women could do everything that men did. For thousands of years, we have recognized the difference between men and women women have fulfilled their role and men have fulfilled their role. But because of postmodern Marxist ideological nonsense in the form of feminism, women were taught there is no difference between men and women. Women need a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Women can do anything men can do, including sleeping around and being promiscuous.
They expect men to stop sexualizing them when this is the only type of content they post. Garbage content. Every single post this woman makes is just her showing her ass. Over and 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 over again. Then they complain and say that men are objectifying them. You're objectifying yourself, sister. Like, look at this, bro. How the hell is this content? Just jiggle my watermelons and expect men to take me seriously, huh?
Hey, cousin, where's mom and dad? They've been gone for like an hour.
I was kind of hoping they'd be gone.
Wait, why?
Then they expect to get wifed up when this is the type of content that they post.
When a guy says, oops, sorry, I put it in the wrong hole, I tell him, there is no wrong hole. Now put that shit back in.
And they want us to be a traditional man when they can't even be a traditional woman.
Hey, I want to try something, okay? Just sit still and give me 1 second. Okay, now move it to the side.
And then they also get mad when we just want them for one thing because this is what they portray on the internet. You do not portray wifey material.
Do I have fuck me eyes?
You absolutely have fuck me eyes. Like the most fuck me eyes I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, would you fuck me then?
I would.
Awesome, let's go. Let's go. Follow, guys.
In conclusion, if you're a woman watching my videos, if you want a strong masculine man, start acting feminine. Don't do what these women are doing, and I guarantee you'll be married.
I got a question. I'm just a little confused on how y'all say y'all want a man and y'all want a relationship, but yesterday on Valentine's Day, y'all was literally butt naked posting pictures. What man gonna want you doing that?
Add to that cocktail of madness the pill, which took away hundreds of thousands of years of restrictions on women having sex with just anyone, because now they could take a pill and not get pregnant. And the Pandora's box that opened when we did that has led to...
I can see what he's doing. I can see it. I feel it. He's cooking.
What we see in 2024, which is a fucking clown world.
Sick motherfucker, how far we done fell.
Where 18-year-old girls are whoring themselves out for money and celebrating it, and they're celebrated by the culture.
Sick motherfucker, how far we done fell.
Men are saying that they can be women and that they have periods and that they can breastfeed.
Sick motherfucker, how far we done fell.
Children are being allowed to say, well, I'm a trans kid, therefore please castrate me or sterilize me or give me a double mastectomy, ruin my life, ensure I can never have children, because because trans.
Sick motherfucker, how far we done fell.
Obese people are eating themselves to death because they are being told that, oh, obesity isn't unhealthy, that's just fat phobic. White people are being called demons to their face. White people are prevented from getting jobs. White people are prevented from going to certain events because all white people are racist, because white people are fragile, because white people are privileged. And everything that happens to black people has nothing to do with the personal responsibility of black people. It has to do with white people being inherently bad people.
Sick motherfucker, how far we done fell.
This is the world we live in, and it started with feminism.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
And the fact that feminism has triggered the fall of Western civilization, and not only that, is actually evil because it promotes female supremacy. Don't believe me?
Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No?
We don't need short men.
Do you need a man?
No.
Do you need a man?
Oh, God.
Do you need a man?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No? Do we need men?
We need men to make us stupid.
Do we need men? Do we need men? Do women need men in this world? Do we need men?
No.
Why?
Because we can be strong, independent women.
Do we need men?
Like, not necessarily, but like, if I can look at them, like, we need a man to look at.
Do we need men?
No!
No, why?
Nobody needs men!
Really?
We do not need men!
Why not? Why don't we need men?
Why would I need men?
So what can you get from someone else that you don't get from a man?
The only thing I can get from a man that I can't get anywhere else is dick.
Okay.
And I don't need dick.
Do we need women?
Yes,
We do. Why?
these women are awesome.
Do we need women?
Of course.
Why?
They're beautiful.
Do we need women?
Women make us feel compassionate and affectionate.
Do we need women?
Of course we do.
Do we need women?
Yes.
Why?
Because they're hot.
And what else?
They're hot.
Do we need women?
I mean, shit, unless they're gay.
So this evil ideology which promotes female supremacy has lifted all the restrictions off women and now allowed women to ruin their lives on a daily basis.
I can see what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
And given birth to trans and gender ideology, which has divided the world in a way it's never been divided before. Men against women, black against white, straight against gay, trans against gendered. That all started with nonsensical, bullshit, Rockefeller-funded feminism.
Can you say that again? Just the way you said it.
Nonsensical, bullshit, Rockefeller-funded feminism.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
And it's so obvious that feminism is the biggest problem with the world that it amazes me that I'm one of the only people, there are a few others, I'm one of a handful of people that says this publicly, 10 toes down, with bass in my voice. I mean what I'm saying. And I want, please feminists that are triggered by this, that can't stand to hear the truth, please come at me. Come at me, bro. I want to get that meme. Come at me, bro. Because when you come at me with your triggered emotional nonsense, claptrap, ideological bullshit, easily debunked, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy your thinking, your ideology, your belief system, your worldview. I'm going to incinerate it. And I want to do that to expose it to anyone out there who doesn't already understand this. And the best way for me to do that is to get myself in a public debate with a bunch of feminists. I will annihilate you. And I really want that to happen. So if anybody is watching this who knows some feminists and knows that they are going to be triggered by this, please send them the link. Bring it on. I've made it the mission in my life to destroy feminism, because feminism has destroyed the West. I'm going to destroy feminism.
He is the one.
You're welcome.
I don't plan on doing this or getting married or finding the love of my life until I retire, like truthfully.
And then after that, you see what happens to Nina Agdal.
No. And then after that, I will be honest and truthful with the person that I will be getting married to or whatever, and it'll be up to him to accept that, right? So,
and I'm just saying that men's natural proclivity is to not accept that because it brings them shame. This is why women struggle to get married when they've made themselves available on OnlyFans, because other men don't want to share. They don't want to share their wife. They maybe will share their girlfriend. They might think it's fun to date a stripper for a little bit. They might think, oh, this means I'm going to have sex 12 times a day. But then when it gets down to just their biological instinct, it's actually quite embarrassing for them as a man, because they can look up your girl and here she is, you know? So that's what I think is happening.
And this is how childish and ignorant most of these young women are. They all think that, oh yeah, I'll have my fun, make my OnlyFans, make my money, go through my hoe phase, go on girls' trips, hook up on the dating apps, have my fun. And then when I'm ready for kids, you know, feminism tells me I can wait until my mid to late 30s. Then when I'm ready for kids, I'll just find a man. I've always been able to get a man. Getting men is easy. So I'll just find a man and I'll tell him, I used to do OnlyFans, I used to whore about a bit. And because I know that men want sex and men fancy me and men want me, he'll accept it. And I'll get married and I'll have kids and I'll have a happy life. Their thinking is that childish. It's that ignorant. They don't know anything about life. They certainly don't know anything about men. And as Candice just pointed out to them, they are delusional. And that is because they are children. And when you empower children, it is the equivalent of giving a child a loaded gun or a box of matches. And that's what feminism has done. It's given children in adults' bodies a loaded gun and a box of matches, and they have shot themselves in the foot, literally, to use the analogy, to use the metaphor, and they are burning the house of Western civilization down. That is exactly what they're doing. Women need a strong father and then a strong husband to help them grow out of their childish nature. That's what a well-raised girl and woman becomes, a responsible adult woman who is capable of being a good mother and a good wife. A woman that doesn't have a strong father or a strong husband goes off the rails, does stupid short-term decisions because she can't delay gratification. She goes with how she feels. She doesn't bring any logical reason. She doesn't think about the long-term consequences. And so she ends up sleeping with the bad boy, sleeping with the wrong man, getting pregnant. He fucks off and she's now alone with a baby. For thousands of years, we have known that if we let women have adult rights while they still remain children in adults' bodies, they will ruin their own lives. What we call the patriarchy was for women's benefit. We didn't subjugate women, we protected them from themselves, and that's why we need to go back to that old wisdom and revoke the vote. Moving on.
I got very excited and my pussy started dripping like super wet.
So when you're preparing yourself for set, your first scene, were you nervous?
Yeah, I was really nervous. I didn't really know exactly what to expect. Like, I knew who my scene partner was and I knew the site that I was filming for, but everyone was super nice. They gave me like the rundown. They, were like, if you ever need to cut, you can cut. Like, we're going to oil you up and do these XYZ positions. And so, it was cool. And then when the camera got rolling, I got very excited and my pussy started dripping like super wet, and that,
And here's a perfect example. Now, even though this young lady is past the age of consent and she has the body of an 18-year-old woman, she has the mind of a 6-year-old girl. As far as I'm concerned, the porn actors that have sex with her on set are child molesters, because only a woman with the brain and mind of a 6-year-old girl would happily, enthusiastically ruin her fucking life at 18. Because she is completely ignorant of life, men, sex, relationships. She's just ignorant. She's a child. she should not be allowed to go to OnlyFans or go to a porn studio and say, I want to be a porn star. I want to be fucked on camera for years and years and years because I know I'll make good money and I do enjoy sex and these guys are hot. So yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to live my best life. She's ignorant. She is completely ignorant. Her mind is childish. This is disgusting. Imagine if that's your daughter or your sister or your friend. And this is allowed to happen because women are treated like adults when they're not. I know there are women who are adults, and if you are a woman who is an adult, you can only agree with me because you know that most of your sisters aren't. You know better than I do because you speak to each other in ways you don't speak to men. So if you're a woman who is a responsible adult, you cannot argue with what I'm saying, especially if you have a young daughter growing up in these times. You know what I'm saying is right. We need to withdraw rights from young girls before they ruin their own lives. Moving on.
To stop washing my hands. I think when I was in college. Was it college for you? I don't know. That's when I remember it because one of my good friends from college also doesn't wash her hands, and it was like how we had that bonding experience. One day I was like, I'm just not gonna wash them. She was like, I'm not either. I don't wash my hands.
I don't really trust people that wash their hands because, well, one, I don't think it does anything to actually wash. It doesn't do anything to actually wash them.
I do wash if I go number 2.
They didn't used to wash them back in like way back in the day when they didn't have, and you would go to the bathroom around the outhouse. Nobody washed their hands then, and there was less diseases.
I sometimes, like, when my roommate's home, I'll have to, like, turn the water on because I'm like, I don't want them to think I'm, like, disgusting.
I'll, like, text. I'll, like, turn the water on and, like, take a text break and be
literally,
like...
I'm like, When you're at work and someone that you know goes into the stall, you're like, well, I guess I'll fake washing my hands now.
We're always in the bathroom with Kate, and I'm always like...
We also don't shower.
The only good thing to come out of the explosion of female-only podcasts that's happened over the past year or so is that the world gets to see just how fucking retarded modern women's thinking is. These two retards have got a podcast. They're making money from just basically telling everyone how retarded they are. And we give these people a vote. We allow them to be mothers. Can you imagine being the child of someone who doesn't believe in washing their hands? Because they didn't wash their hands in the 13th century. They just got Black Death and killed a third of Europe. Fucking hell. Not that Black Death is saved by washing of hands, but you know what I mean. Moving on.
Why do all men do this? They could have like the most amazing weekend. I mean, they can meet the president of the United States. They can get a brand new car. They can be on their dream vacation. And then you go to their Instagram and it's like one picture of him and his dog. Like, what? Like, are you hiding something or you just don't want people to know what you're doing? Someone please explain this to me.
Again, complete ignorance about basic things about men born of profound self-absorption. Women never take themselves out of themselves and put themselves in the position of men to try and walk a mile in our shoes or see the world through our eyes. They never do it because they're children, just like children cannot do it. I've told this many times, but a child under the age of 6 or 7, if you have a book with a red cover and a blue cover and you show both covers to the child and then put the book down in front of you with the blue cover facing the child and the red cover facing you, and you say to the child, what colour am I seeing? The child will say blue, because before 6 or 7, a child's brain doesn't develop the ability to project its consciousness into another being and see things from their point of view, which is what empathy is. That's what empathy is, the ability to see things from another person's point of view. To look out of their eyes at the world and their experience. And women are incapable of doing it for men. They can empathize with other women because they have the same feeling nature, but they cannot empathize with men because they're children. And this woman doesn't even realize that men are not childlike or childish in this way. We do not need constant attention and validation because we don't have a deep-seated insecurity and anxiety. I think in the psychological literature, women are high in trait neurosis, basically. So because women are so neurotic, they need constant affirmation, validation, approval, and attention. Like who? Altogether now, like a fucking child. It's so obvious. It's just so obvious. I can't believe that nobody talks about it. Everybody knows, as she's just pointed out, she thinks that every human being is like a woman. In other words, has to share what they're doing and what they feel and how they like things and where they've been and what they've done and who they've done it with, has to share everything about their life in order to receive attention, approval, affirmation, validation, like a child. Because women are so neurotic and anxious and not confident and cowardly, and plenty of men are all these things as well, I understand that, but for every man that is like a child, there's 10 women who are like a child. So it's not useful. Somebody put a comment the other day saying, you make excellent points about women, but there are lots of little mummy's boys as well, men running about. Of course there are, but the ratios are ridiculous. She made the point, which I agree with, that only a small number of people reach mature, adult, responsible status. This wasn't true 50 years ago, but since, basically the turn of the century, millennials, the internet, social media, and woke, all of those things have infantilized the human race. So whereas in the 20th century, the majority of people became mature, responsible, adult human beings who took responsibility for their feelings, their thoughts, their speech and their behavior. The majority of people were adults in the 20th century. In the 21st century, it's absolutely a minority. She's right. I agree with her. I don't know what the percentage is, but let's say it's 20% of people actually become adults. And to become an adult, you have to be not like a child. In other words, you have to be able to use reason and logic. So you can't be irrational. You have to be responsible, which means to take accountability, to be able to own your mistakes, own when you're wrong, say you're sorry, and fix it. You have to be not emotionally reactive like a child. You have to be able to deal with difficult emotions without reacting to them by becoming an addict, or, to distract yourself, or suppressing them and becoming depressed, or projecting them and being a cunt.
I can see what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
Those are the three coping mechanisms human beings have for painful emotions. We either suppress it through denial and pretend it's not there, that leads to depression, or we distract ourselves in some addiction, whether it's substance abuse or addiction to TikTok or addiction to sex or work or whatever, some addiction to distract us, or projection, which is where, because we don't want to feel the bad feelings, we vomit them onto other people as blame and judgment and condemnation. So any hateful person, anyone that talks about white supremacy or misogyny or any bullshit, that's projection. And those are the coping mechanisms that we use, all adults use. All children in adults' bodies use. Grown-ups don't do that. They don't live life through coping mechanisms. They don't suck on their thumb like a child to distract themselves. They don't cry like a baby, which is what projection is. When a baby cries, they are projecting their pain out. Now, a baby is helpless. A baby needs to project their pain and cry so the mum comes. So it's perfectly fine for a baby to do it. But everybody that goes around judging and blaming everyone else for what's under their skin, for their own issues, for their own life problems, for their own happiness and unhappiness, is a fucking baby. And adults don't do that. They don't blame and judge. They take responsibility. They own their shit. They don't complain. So now that you're understanding what it means to be an adult, and the other thing is adults aren't self-absorbed to the point of narcissism like children and like modern women. They actually have enough consciousness and awareness to think about life, the world. Life is a wonderful mystery. history, geography, food, art, colour. There's so many wonderful things about life. But if you're self-absorbed, all you think about is what you can get, how it makes you feel. You, me, like a child or a modern woman. An adult actually is alive in the world. They can appreciate things outside of themselves. Now, if that's the criteria, and it is, then less than 20% of modern people in the West, I can't talk about the rest of the world, I only know the West culturally, so I would say less than 20% of the people in the West are adult human beings. And if that 20% were 200 people, 160 to 170 of them would be men. And 40 to 30 would be women. I reckon it's about 80 to 90% men, 10% women. It's much, much, much rarer for a woman to be an adult than a man. As I've said many times before, society coddles women. They are not held accountable. Just look at the divorce courts. Look at the fact that even though wives abuse their husbands even more than husbands abuse their wives, there are virtually no shelters for men. There's no support for men. That's why most homeless people are men. Most suicides are men. Society just doesn't look after men. And actually, I don't really have a problem with that, because men are disposable. In evolutionary terms, we are. We just are. We're disposable, because if you don't have women, you can't repopulate. You only need one man and 10 women to completely repopulate. If you've got one woman and 10 men, you're fucked. She's fucked and you're fucked. So men are disposable. So I'm not saying it's right, but it's at least understandable in evolutionary terms that society doesn't coddle men. And I don't want men to be coddled. I want men to grow up and be strong men like we used to be.
I can see what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
You know, in the greatest generation. Yes, we had our issues because we did repress everything, because we all needed to be the strong silent type, and we definitely needed to evolve from that. But we didn't need to become women, like feminism said. Men should be more like women. That is what has destroyed the world. It's not only destroyed women and made them incapable of being good wives and therefore broken up the family, and incapable of being good mothers, therefore creating a generation of Gen Z useless babies, weak victim babies.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Feminism did all that, but it also encouraged many boys to hate their own manhood, to want to please women by being feminine. And why do you think there are so many more people, men identifying as women now? Because masculinity has been made toxic. So if you're a young kid and you want to fit in, you want to be special, you want to be trendy, the trendiest thing now is to not be a man, not be a boy, to be non-binary, queer or trans. That's trendy, because straight white man is the devil. According to woke feminism and woke in general, and the culture in general, including Hollywood, all the corporations, all the left-wing governments, straight white man is the worst thing you can be. And that influences children. I don't want to be a boy. I want to be a girl. All the schools are populated by female teachers, all the universities, female lecturers mainly. So we've just feminized and infantilized the world.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
So the world is full of masculine, ignorant, childish women and feminine, ignorant, childlike men.
Sick motherfucker, how far we done fell.
I don't know why I went off on that rant, but yeah, she doesn't even know that men are not like women. We don't need attention, validation and affirmation all the time, because we're not neurotic, needy little children. Moving on.
One baby mama and 2 kids with the one baby mama, leave that nigga alone. If he got mad baby mamas and mad kids, talk to that nigga. He ain't settled yet. If he got more than one, whoever he got the most kids with is who he loved the most.
Another peculiarity with children, particularly little girls, is their ability to be completely ignorant about something, yet talk about it in an arrogant way, as though they knew everything. So they know nothing at all, but they talk like they know everything. And if any type of modern woman embodies arrogant ignorance, it's black women in the West. Not necessarily in Africa, but certainly in England and in Europe and in America. This woman is like almost all her counterparts, is completely ignorant of healthy relationships. The rate of single motherhood in the black community means that the chances are sky high that she was raised by a single mother and that she herself is a single mother, right? So raised by a single mother has become a single mother, so perpetuating the cycle of not having a strong family unit. We know that the ghetto is basically the result of single motherhood. The children of single motherhood become the criminals, prostitutes, and drug addicts of the ghetto. So she knows nothing about healthy relationships and family. Nothing at all. And listen to her arrogantly proclaim what kind of nigger is good to talk to, depending on how ratchet he is and how much of a thug and irresponsible, childish, fuck all these women and then leave them, impregnate them and leave them. So that's a child telling you what kind of man is the most childish and he's the one you should get with, so that you can have another dysfunctional relationship birthing another child that's going to have no chance from the beginning, because dad's not going to be around and mother's a child. That arrogance, when they're so ignorant, it drives me crazy. Where I come from, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't fucking talk. Keep your mouth shut and study, learn and practice so that you can speak with some knowledge of the subject you're talking about. If you're ignorant of what it means to be in a healthy, functional family, shut the fuck up. Don't teach other children in adults' bodies, other young women, to sleep with thugs and criminals and perpetuate the cycle of dysfunction, criminality and poverty in the black community. You fucking moron.
I'm a baby mama. Of course, both of my baby daddies accused me of trying to trap them, even though they were both living with me at the time of the pregnancy, living off of me at the time of the pregnancy, broke as shit, and using my car to get around. We were both consenting adults having sex, and I assumed if pregnancy ever happened, that was something that we both would accept and do together.
I mean, you can't make this shit up. This inability for women, and in particular single mothers, to take accountability for their poor choices and decisions is comical. It's clownish. She, not once, but twice, let a deadbeat man live with her, live off her, use her, and impregnated her, and assumed he would stick around. She did not only did it, if she did it once, it would be stupid enough. It would be moronic enough. But she did it again. She let another deadbeat man live off her, live with her, live off her, use her, raw dog come inside her, and she still assumed he was going to be consensual and he was going to stick around. No accountability. It was 100% her choice to sleep with those men. It was 100% her choice to let them live with her. It was 100% her choice to let them use her. And it was 100% her choice to let them come inside her without protection and not to use protection. And it was 100% her choice to have the babies. So this was all her. Yet when she tells the story, it's all the men. Just unbelievable. That is a fucking child. Completely irresponsible, zero accountability. projecting the guilt and shame she feels for being a 2-time single mother and basically having ruined her life. So she feels deeply guilty and ashamed of that. But because she can't take accountability, she can't face and feel the pain of that guilt and shame. So she projects it onto the baby daddies that she chose, that she let live off her and leech off her, that she let come inside her. It's all on her. And this is why we need to revoke the vote. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.